How's it going, everybody? It's Mike from PC Classic Cars, back with another virtual description. Today we are going to talk about our 1998 Pontiac Trans Am WS6 with 19,000 original miles. This is a vehicle I bought from a gentleman out of Pennsylvania. They were the second owner. The Carfax on it is a clean Carfax, no accidents, no damage ever reported. The original owner was also out of Pennsylvania, so it is registered on the Carfax as a two-owner car, which is really cool. And it is an extremely nice car front to back, and we'll dive into the total condition front to back, top to bottom throughout this video. On the driveline, it retains the original stock 5.7 liter LS1. They make 320 horse and 345 foot-pounds of torque, and the 98 WS6s is what they were rated at. This one, again, is very stock. It hasn't had any mechanical modifications. Has the original 6-speed manual transmission. And then it does have the factory WS6 package on it, so you do have the upgraded suspension. All of your other standard equipment like power steering, power four-wheel disc brakes, all of that stuff is still standard on the car. Nothing's been modified or changed. You do have cold AC and you do have hot heat. It retains the original stock set of manifolds, and then it does have the full stock exhaust, and it is a single on the left like all of the 98 WS6s. I sell a lot of the 98s, and people call up there and say, why did someone put a single exhaust on it? They were actually built that way. It does have a single on the left exhaust. If you simply do an AI search or Google search, 1998 WS6 single on the left exhaust, a bunch of information will pop up. It wasn't until 1999, I believe, that they came out when it had the dual tips, one on each side. Even though that the bumper does have the cutout for the 98, to have dual exhaust, it did only come with the single exhaust on the left. And this one, again, is still original exhaust, and it sounds great going down the road. Take a look at my test drive video. You'll see me personally driving the vehicle going down the road. It's about 9-10 minutes long. I'll talk about the mechanicals, how it performs, but again, this one, being a 19,000 mile car, does everything that you'd expect a low mileage WS6 to do. So take a look at that other video. And I forgot to mention on the Carfax, you can take a look at my additional infos tab on my website, pcclassiccars.com. Click on this vehicle, scroll below the photos. You'll see that additional infos tab along with the test drive tab. That will have the Carfax in there as well. On my Does It Work section, again, back on a 19,000 mile car, it's well sorted. There's nothing that needs attention when it comes to the electronics. All of your gauges, all of your lights, all that stuff functions properly. Still retains the original radio. That functions well. The AC and the heat both work like they should. Headlights open and close correctly. That's a real common problem on these, where the headlight motors, where the little gear will get stripped out and they won't want to open, but these headlights open and close great. The Does It Work section will again be posted on my website. But again, this one's a sorted car. Pretty much everything, or really everything on the car front to back, is listed as a yes. During my pre-inspection, I didn't find anything out of ordinary. All of the suspension, all the steering, all that stuff checks out great. It's all factory equipment. Didn't find any leaks. So again, 19,000 mile car, nothing really disclaimer-wise when it comes to any of the suspension or anything on the bottom side of the car. If I have to nitpick anything for the drivability, is the tires date code are a little bit older than I like, but there's no dry rot, no cracking. So if someone wants peace of mind if they're going to hop in this thing and drive it across the country, maybe upgrade to a new set of tires at some point. But again, it's not needed at this very moment. Exterior is a factory black WS6. The code, I believe, is, let me check my notes here. It's U8555. That is the code for black. This one still retains the RPO codes on the driver's door. Does show us that it is a WS6, and it is a factory black with charcoal interior car. The black paint is nice. Few smaller flaws in the paint. Couple little stone chips on the front headlight covers, front of the hood, front bumper, just from being driven. The halo panel behind the T-tops does have a few smaller imperfections. They're notorious for getting that on all of the years of the WS6s with the halo top. Obviously, the convertibles don't have that, but the hardtop cars or the T-top cars, they have that halo panel in the way that they were designed. You'll see some of the imperfections in the paint. If you find one that is super nice, the halo has probably been repainted. They get like little bubbles in the paint. This one being black, if you get in the right light, you can see a few of those smaller flaws, but it's all minimal. And what you'd expect for a WS6, you do get some little imperfections here and there on that halo. But the rest of the paint is nice outside of the touch-ups. Check out the additional infos tab. I'll have some really good photos of all the flaws on the car. but nothing that's egregious, all just minor little imperfections kind of front to back on the car from being driven. Interior is super clean, no door panel cracks, no dash issues. It's a very nice original charcoal interior. That's what they called their black interior on the earlier cars. It is more of a charcoal, but that is the dark interior that you could have got. No issues with the seats, no issues with the interior. All your standard options like tilt, cruise, your factory tack, all your factory gauges, the factory Pontiac Monsoon stereo, all that stuff is still there and works great. No weird smells, has nice mats in it. Just a really clean interior front to back, so nothing to complain about there. Engine bay is the same way. It's all stock. Nothing's really been messed with. It's all what you'd expect for a low mileage car. It shows great. Nothing's out of place. Underneath falls into that same category where there's really no problems on the floors. It's got the original paint on the floors. No rust issues. The frame rails are great. On the suspension components, like the front lower control arms as well as the rear end, were not painted from the factory on these cars. So pretty much right after they were new, if they were outside at any given time, you're going to get some surface corrosion on those non-painted parts. There's no issues with it. I prefer to not scrub them down and shoot them with black. I'd like to see them how they're original like that. So you will see some surface corrosion on the rear end as well as the lower control arms, but that's notorious across the board on these cars. It's just kind of how they were designed. They didn't paint them. You do get surface rust on things that aren't painted. It just happens. The nitpicky thing on the bottom side, on the lower portion of the front bumper, underneath the bumper, you have to have the car up on the rack to see this. There is a little bit of curb rash on the flat portion of the lower part of the front bumper, just from either pulling into a parking lot with a little curb there, scratching up the lower portion of the bumper, or for whatever reason going over a speed bump. That's got a few little streaks in the paint on the lower portion of the bumper. Again, you can't see it from the outside. Excuse me. Yeah, you can't see it from the outside. It's just got that small little spot, or small little spots on the lower portion of the flat part of the bumper. Overall feel on this WS6, I love these cars. I buy a lot of the automatics. I also buy a lot of the WS6 6-speeds if I can get them. This one has great miles. It's black on black. It's a non-messed with car. It is very clean and very stock. I also have the original window sticker. I have a clean Carfax. There's really nothing for me to complain about on this car. It's just a very nice thing, example front to back, outside of some smaller little touch-ups and imperfections that you're going to get for a 20,000 mile car. So love it. It drives great. Check out the test drive video. Check out my additional infos tab on my website. Thanks again for watching another one of my virtual descriptions, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Have a great rest of y'all's day.